long time. Yeah. Well, anyway, let's hop into the draft here for game number 2, see whether KT... I was going to say bounce back, but I was wondering whether KT could arrive. That would be really cool.
I mean, look, I thought the draft was great.
I think it was fine, yeah.
I don't think it was played out the way that KT planned to in you know, the vision game there from T1, tracking Cuz, and then, as was really well pointed out on the space, like a little bit of over-aggression with that hook shot there from Keen is rough, but...
I mean, it's one mistake, and then you lost the whole game. Yeah. Because it was from that point on that KT never really had access back into it. Like, Oner being there towards that bottom side, as the space mentioned.
Like, Atlas, I was gonna say, like, maybe KT pick Annie this time earlier, and it really warps the draft, and then nope, T1 just gonna take that. There, I think T1 kind of on the same mindset as me here. Now, you can put aiming on Lucian, but this has not been his strong point. He's 0-4 on the champion. He has not won a single game with the Lucian into Zeri lanes this season, and it's not his playstyle, but he's going to pick it up here anyways. The Annie is still so flexible here for T1. Could end up being support, where you could deny dives from Cuz if they want to actually really hard force that bottom lane. And they're even going to save the jungle as a counter pick here. They want to see what Oner is doing before they commit.
Yeah, I actually really like it because I wouldn't put it past T1 to just pick up Draven Nami. That you could just do that. Makes Lucian's life really, really difficult. Force the hands onto something like a Sona, which he definitely doesn't want to play. Gumayusi thinking about heading towards something else here, but we'll see what they do actually end up making their minds on. Karma is banned, so the Varus less value necessarily.
We very rarely see teams opt into Varus with the Lucian lane here, and this could be something really unique here. Now, I like the Vi pickup. This is what you lose as KT by locking in this Nami early, and so it's just going to be that Wukong handshake once more. And I wouldn't be shocked if we see something like a Varus Jhin lane or something like that here, because you have the Vi, you have this Annie in mid. The Annie still can be flexed to support here with this Varus lane. Not as powerful in this lane as it is in other weak side lanes. We're usually not trying to opt into weak side Varus, but see what they end up doing here. But this makes the draft a lot more confusing and tough for KT. This is vintage T1 Game 2. You don't know what's coming next.
Yeah, and the Vi kind of tells me that Annie could very well be heading towards that bottom lane. Of course, the level 6 spike with Varus Annie is very, very strong. You know, with dropping a bear on them.
I love this.
Chains of Corruption.
Ballista ban, and we might see the Jhin ban next year from KT Rolster. Just eliminate some of those possibilities of how this lane goes very wrong for you. The Annie could be still problematic, as you mentioned, but
it eats support bans when it could already be going into support, right? Like, it's actually really, really smart from T1, and utilizing their flex is something they didn't have to do in Game 1.
Nope.
And they're now doing it here in Game 2, making things even more difficult for KT.
And once again, Keen's not going to get to play his Jax. That's taken off the board. This final ban here is a really tough one for KT. You can see Hirai discussing with the players here. Moving into this one, it will be the Jace ban.
I like that.
I think that you know for sure that Zeus is going to be able to play Jace in this draft, so take that away. It could be Jhin, you don't know, could be Annie. You try to take a second support ban away here, and it feels really messy. It feels wasted in a lot of cases.
And also, like, T1 would then have the opportunity of picking Jace Gragas, and then you don't know where anything is going. Aiming, let's see what he's going to pick up here for Keen or for BDD.
I did think it was really cute on the desk when they thought that maybe Orianna would be played mid in the LCK. I
know.
It's not going to happen.
I thought that too, and it just didn't. It didn't.
Now, the Gragas here is flexible. Faker proved this.
Oh, yeah.
As he played his 3rd and 4th professional games of Gragas in that previous series earlier this week against Liv Sandbox. So this is actually a great pick here for KT because it can be safe against anything very blindable topside. And then if they want to play it mid, they can.
Okay.
Draven Varus, okay.
Yep, that's a choice you can make. Keria just going to bust out the support Varus this time around. Of course, very much enjoys building lethality, and when you can build lethality, you can play it as support. Is kind of how it goes.
I really think that BDD needs to have a pick that has a lot of prio here. Is it going to be Cassante into the Gragas top? I think that Gragas is definitely going top at this point. BDD, he doesn't have mid-prio man, this lane is going to be a disaster potentially on the bottom side.
Oh yeah, and T1 went from like, this is a really smart draft, everything is great, to we're having fun, hell yeah.
I mean, I think this draft is still really strong. I wouldn't even say it's necessarily fun. Like, this is the kind of games we've been seeing from T1 all season. It looks like it's going to be Gragas mid with the Gwen here going top side, and BD playing this Gragas into the Annie mid is going to be very challenging to get massive advantages early enough in this lane to where you can actually help out your bottom lane. So, I mean, this is just going to be Guma Keria playground. Faker already dominated BDD when he was on the Azir. The Gragas here, which in the early game is not going to have that same sort of power or prio, will be very difficult to play out.
I think that Keen this time is going to be having a much better time, as Draven Annie with Varus mid this time around is the attempted idea, but I don't think that's going to happen.
It's just a tease.
That was like 2 seconds before it was had to be locked. Of course, when it hits 20 seconds, guys, that's when all of the swaps have to have come through, unless we get a bug or anything like that, which used to happen quite often. Hasn't happened so far this year. Touch wood.
Yeah. Don't say that, Atlas.
Yeah. I think that KT, if they don't win this game, then it's a real disaster. I think Keen has such a huge advantage. Like, Gwen was already a good matchup into Cassante, and then he got nerfed into the ground. So I think that, like, theoretically, this should be the angle that you can actually find some leads, but the bottom lane's going to be really difficult. But as the game goes on, there are so many more avenues back than there were in Game 1.
I think that's the main problem for me is if you lose bottom so hard. I mean, this is exactly how T1 sees the meta, is I can play anything bottom and we can win it. And when you have a Vi here and you're going to have some mid-prio into this Gragas pick, just don't see how KT stave off the pressure. You opted into this Lucian pick and now you're going to lose lane.
Well, we'll see whether they can turn it all around, because as we mentioned before, we need KT to actually turn up today, and Game 2 could be their last hope for doing so. KT, you can hear the desperation in the fans' voices once again, a lot more warranted than it was in game number 1. It was definitely still there then.
Halo Blades for the Varus and the barrier so that Keria can extend those trades. As if you don't get hit by the bubble, I mean, that bottom side, you just keep hitting. You just keep autoing and you win.
Yeah.
Aiming needs abilities to proc his passive, but the base stats of Draven are so high with the heal barrier lane here. It is going to be a tough time. Now, if BDD surprises me and actually gets mid-prio here and wins this lane, then things could look different, but I'm not willing to predict that right now, to be honest with you, Atlas.
The best thing about this lane is that we have got 10 years of tape of Gragas versus Annie. This has been a matchup since the dawn of time. It used to be great for Gragas, but Gragas also used to have some of the most absurd AP scalings in the history of the universe. Your cask went out instantly. There were ways that you could just never actually react to Gragas. Gragas was broken, guys. He was very strong.
Hey, that's a good start.
Yeah, we've nailed it. Cut the video. KT in the lead. Let's call it and go home.
Well, this bottom lane at level 1, as mentioned, very difficult to play out for the Lucian Nami. Already going to be a heal. Like, you are healing to get experience.
Yeah, basically. They do have somewhat of a health advantage, as Varus played in support for the first time here. Means that he has played so far in 3 different roles here in the LCK.
The mid-Varus, kind of the older tech. And we might have seen it into the Gragas here if they had not swapped at the last possible second there.
Well, Zeus is going to be able to find a Q, but Keen is just standing there being like, I'm Gwen. I have not been nerfed, and you have.
Yeah. Also, you know, just with how Cassante's Qs work. Okay, hold on. Faker.
Well, there is the flash immediately. Body slam flash in there as well as Faker gets taken down very low. There's the flash from Cuz, and first blood goes to KT.
Well, that's one way to get a lead in mid. You know, just an early level 3 gank from Cuz. 2 flashes for 1, but you'll take that amount of control. You get the early teleport here now from Faker. And this bottom side definitely feels a little bit more salvageable now.
Oh, it absolutely does. KT feeling pretty happy about the state of the game right now. Of course, Oner here towards the bottom side and can obviously punish Cuz for losing that flash.
BDD with not a lot of mana here and no flash, so very difficult to chase down this Vi, and Faker just instantly teleports back to lane, so in terms of what he's going to lose, very limited right now, and in fact is going to zone BDD out. BDD will have to teleport after this wave.
Yeah, KT here on the bottom side, they know exactly where Oner is. Cuz going to be able to clear out that ward, and Oner immediately puts down another one. KT playing very respectfully there towards that bottom side. And I'm very interested to see what Zeus' idea is here on this Cassante, because so far, like, there are a lot of options into Cassante these days. And we were commentating quite a lot of Cassante in Challenger because we have a lot of players that just really love the champion. Mihail comes to mind, of course, for Nongshim's Challenger roster. Just picks it all the time.
And we've seen, I'd say, so much Cassante in Challengers because of the amount of prep that came into learning this champion and the mastery that came through very early for some.
Everyone was just spamming in preseason, you're right.
So, you know, you feel really comfortable in that, maybe a little bit rusty for some of these players who haven't built up 5 years of playing tons of different matchups, so kind of relying on this Cassante. I think in this draft, for Zeus, the idea is we have a lot of setup CC, we have a lot of burst damage. If I can hit my Q3 in a team fight or all out somebody, you know, when the flash Tibbers and then you have that follow-up Draven ult, burst somebody down, you can play this almost like a pick comp, but it also has great 5v5 team fighting from ahead, which is what this draft is designed to do. Now, with that early kill mid, T1 behind in gold for the moment, but it hasn't really meant anything just yet here bottom side.
Yeah, this lane should be able to fight back, but the problem is that I feel like Nami offers a lot in a team fight, and Keria will offer less and less as the game goes on.
True.
Right? Like, he's an 80 carry that, yeah, he's got Chains of Corruption as Oner is going to find Cuz here in the jungle. He's a Vi. He's very happy to take this little trade as ward goes over, and Piercing Arrow going to connect. BDD able to help get Cuz out as Keria's just going to chase after him. Hail of Blades does a heck of a lot of work, and there's the last order. Thanks for the blue buff.
And this is such an easy call for T1 to make, to just force this, because the back timing of aiming and Lehens is telegraphed. They know they've backed. They're already looking to make a Drake play, and then this happens, right? Cuz is over here caught out very far forward in the jungle. Oner just punishes him instantly, and now they're going to be able to turn this into a pick and a dragon. So go back to that level 3 gank here from Cuz. Faker has to flash here, still takes the damage. The body slam is great from BDD, buffering that one into him. And then Cuz still has flash for the follow-up to Q him to death. But it doesn't lead to a lead for Gragas in the mid lane. And this is where things go really badly, because Cuz shouldn't be here while his bot lane is backing. You don't have the control over the map to do that. And you know that T1 are looking to try to punish this back with a Drake. Like, you should know this. And he is punished very hard.
Yeah,
for his transgressions.
That's actually just not great play from Cuz. Knew that he was on vision, but Keria also understanding exactly how much he's capable of doing there, and knowing that the Warrior Trickster is on cooldown as well is really important. But this is still a thing, right? Like, Lucian Nami is still very strong, and so there is still avenues, but things definitely evening out a lot more. And with that 500 gold lead, T1 find themselves once again with that tempo advantage. So much of this game has come down to where these junglers are going, what they're doing, and what mistakes they make. The mistakes have been on Cuz's side so far this series. Oner's been very clean.
He really has. And, you know, you could see that this lane can go very well for the Lucian Nami after you get those few levels online, and Draven is not just chunking you down with his level 1 autos, where he has some of the strongest, if not the strongest, level 1s trades you're going to have in the game. So that's going okay now. BDD picked up that early assist. He does have control of the mid lane for this moment in time. So KT definitely having a fair game here. We're heading into a mid game where things have not gone disastrously bad for them early on.
Yeah.
So already an improvement here.
Because there is a ward. So Zeus should get information as to what's going on here, but he is just going to shadow for the moment. Vi on the bottom side, Keen looking for a potential angle as the Q is charged.
Really
Zeus
greedy.
Not going to throw it at him.
Really risky to actually commit to this, because he could just ult you through that wall right under turret. If you don't have level 6 as the Wukong, probably not advised to stick around here, but they are going to try to set up for this Herald on spawn. 10 seconds for this. The Prio they have topside with BDD coming over here. Full mana bar, cask at the ready.
Yep. And Faker's just going to drop a bear on the monkey. Lehen's in position. Ebb and Flow going to be able to help out here, and there is the smite. 50G, you'll take that. Does mean that he'll have to wait for his next charge, but it's not up right now, so no worries at all.
This is a really cool call from T1 because they're communicating with the bottom lane. Gumayusi wants to stay in lane and didn't know where aiming was. Like, you know what? If we just put the jungler down low, we should be able to buy enough time here to actually get a rotation up, get a good Draven ult potentially from Guma as he hits level 6-2 in this fight if they want to contest. And KT just decide, we can't actually play this out the way we wanted.
Yeah. And now, here towards the bottom side, Lehen's, he does make his way back down, and things definitely feeling a lot better for KT as far as how the game state is. Because the last draft from T1 was just really clean, right? Like, it smoothly moves from early advantage to late game scaling and does it beautifully and answered KT's composition and what they were able to do so beautifully. This time, this sort of stuff has to happen, right? There are far more avenues for success here for KT, especially looking towards those side lanes with the Gwen.
And if this Herald isn't taken for KT, like, this doesn't happen, and, you know, you can defend this, but unfortunately, this is seen by T1. They are able to identify it, and so Oner is just camping this lane where aiming is not able to farm, and plates are going over. So you've already gotten equal to what the Herald would give you in terms of plates, maybe even more here if they finish this off. Very close to it. I think they will get it.
Absolutely.
Yep. And so now you've already beaten the Herald value just from camping with your Vi down your bottom side, just like game 1.
And it's after Cuz makes that mistake, he's back to, oh, I'll just try and help everyone else. I'm not going to make the plays anymore, and we'll just try not to make any more of these mistakes. And we can't, like, that's not how you win the game.
It's hard, you know, when you have this bottom lane that's very volatile, and there's so much damage early, even without a Draven cash-in or anything like that. That's a really tough lane to assist when you don't have level 6. The desk pointed this out earlier, you know, Cuz on Wukong in the previous game also just not able to help out until he had that 6 and didn't commit fully to that all-in at 10 minutes. So, I mean, now Keen is like, well, I don't know if I could be anywhere. I have to play respectfully here. It's just a really frustrating game state here now for KT. Only 2 kills, but this is what T1 does. They probably have the lowest kill to gold lead ratio in the LCK because they just win off of the map.
Oh, Oner gets over the wall, and Cuz is, yep, he's back. He's back to his position. Here we go.
What I mean by that is that they win off of objectives, and their gold leads are based more than any other team, I think, based on turrets and plates than anyone else in the LCK right now. And now they've got group up for this second Drake here.
Yeah, well, Tidal Wave is going to come forward. There's the Cyclone, lands onto both of these bottom laners. Sorry, onto Oner and onto Keria. Culling comes through. That should be another kill as BDD picks up that one. The Draven's going to cash in, but it's a double kill here for the Gragas. He flashes away as Faker just needs a few more. Gumayusi flashes. Can he actually get it? There it is. That's a double for the Draven. Amazing here for T1. KT had the answer, but I think the cash-in's probably worth it.
The cash-in is definitely worth it, and now Keria has an Umbral Glaive. So the vision game here is going to be so much harder now on the side of KT Rollster. You can see the ideas in these compositions. You have the Tidal Wave and the Cyclone not linked up perfectly, but they still do both get hit by that Cyclone. Oner and Keria there, and then you have that follow-up damage coming through when the Gragas arrives, but it can't win the longer fight. The Draven damage is real, and now the cash-in is so huge.
Oh, yeah.
And KT are going to try to group up back again and look for another contest on this Drake, but this contest even tougher.
I think it's kind of okay with Gale Force now being completed for aiming, and we haven't had the back yet for Gumayusi. He's now coming out of base. This is the one moment that you can go for this.
I mean, they don't even know if Guma backed or not. They didn't see him, so this is so greedy. But I mean, I guess you got to take risks if you're KT.
And Oner and Keria now waiting over to the side. They can see exactly what the health bar of this Drake is. So this steal is just so easy.
Oh man, KT, Guma could have been here. He wasn't. He backed. But you don't have any setup vision around the rest of the Drake, and you just get
they did it on vision. Yeah. Like there's actually just like there's
on the scuttle. I mean,
well, Rift Herald is going to be put down here in this mid lane. Let's just talk about something else, shall we, for a moment? As T1 they'll push into the bottom lane. This is the only really good news story solidly for KT is Keen being able to fight against Zeus here. But as I say that, the all-out does come through, pulls him back underneath the turret, and Gwen not going to be immune to that one. So he's going to have to back away. Some needlework coming out here as Zeus just doing some Cassante things. VOD fighting against Faker. Good little belly bump. Gets a bit of value here as the Cyclone comes through. Cease and desist comes down. There is the Whirling Death. Gumayusi's going to get yet another one. That is a killing spree here as Oner gets over the wall. There's the flash from aiming. He wants to play this aggressively, but Oner, he's down to a sliver, but he will survive. KT, they just cannot get these little extra bits.
I mean, look at the damage here from Guma.
Oh yeah, he's real big now.
He basically 3 shots Lehens. You know, I mean, it's not quite that bad, but it's almost that bad. And Lehens is just going to have to get out of dodge. T1, so much control on the bottom side of the map. I mean, Cuz is cycloning to try to hold his Gromp.
Yeah.
That's where we are in this game state where T1 now, once again, suddenly, 4,000 gold lead, 2 Drake lead. It's Infernal Soul for a 3-0 Draven.
Yeah, that cash-in really ballooned the gold ridiculously far. And it looked like it was kind of okay for KT. As we have a look at it again, like, VOD finds a good angle, right? He gets down here, making proactive play. Like, this was cute, but in the end, it just didn't really do enough.
Oner buys so much time here, and the follow-up damage is just not big enough at this stage in the game. And to go this far as VOD to secure the kill, because he has to, right? Because you don't have as much damage on this Lucian as you'd like to have. He's trapped, and he goes down, and then there's a control ward, there's a regular ward, buys over the wall. They do not even know. This is just elementary steal here.
I mean, it's not even a steal. Like, actually, this is just T1's Drake. Because they can just time it.
1, 2, 3 is the call there in the comms, and this is what you do, where you time it with Varus. We've seen this team do this so many times, whether it's support or AD carry. And then this is like the Cyclone on the Gromp. Oh, such a tragedy here.
Yeah. KT not really finding any angles. And this was the draft to actually turn it around, right? This was the time. And also the early game didn't actually go that horribly, but it still spiraled out of control completely. So much of me just wants to get 3 games out of this telecom war, but it's just not looking like it's going to be possible.
And there are some, you know, if you funnel into a choke point onto Keen, you know, he's got this Rift Maker, or maybe a big cask play comes through, Cyclone on top of a Gwen. You know, I mean, there are some weird team fights that can happen even from behind where KT could suddenly get a bunch of gold injection.
Yeah, Chains of Corruption go wide, but it's zoning, guys. Goes over this wall, but is he going to stay there is the question. They're waiting for VOD, but he walks over a ward. T1 just with the answers to everything here so far.
Yeah, I mean, Annie now leaning against the Gwen and having a pretty good time over there, too.
Oh, well, that clone takes a bit of damage from the Whirling Death.
Yeah, they're just going to try to force this turret down with the Herald.
Oh dear, aiming's real dead. Tidal Wave does come through. Let's see whether KT have a follow-up. Bubble is decent there onto Zeus, who's tanking this one for a very long time, but he all-outs. He gets over the wall. Cuz, can you actually kill him? The answer is no. He's going to be able to get over that wall. Keen now diving forward. Gumayusi teleport, taking some needlework as the teleport does come through from Faker, and he turns up and says, "Leave my friends alone."
Yeah, he was ready to flash ult. Yes. He was like, I'm gonna do it if you guys actually try to stick around and turn this. Guaranteeing that push through to the turret. And VOD's just kind of left over here trying to get something back, trying to scale up here, because once he hits that big spike with his Rod of Ages and the Seraphs, he will do a lot of damage. We saw Faker do this exact same build. I mean, this is the new Gragas build. You don't build tank anymore, you build DPS, but he still needs time, right? Is over here, T1 are just planning to siege up for this Rift Herald drop. Oner, again, clears vision, and I mean, it's so clean. Goodbye, Lucian. That's all your damage gone when the Gragas is on the top side. Cuz is just desperately trying to do anything to stop this push.
Well, in the meantime, Lehens is dead. Gumayusi's going to get his 4th here of this game, and that's, if the back wasn't broken already, call the ambulance.
T1 playing this second game, yeah, it's a draft that I think from the outset, to some people would look at the Cassante after the nerfs and see the support Varus first in the LCK and say, well, this is kind of, you know, happy gaming from T1. I really don't think so. I think this draft is solid. They know their win conditions very well, and the fact that Keria understands how to play the early game in this matchup so extremely well with the Halo Blades, his flash kill early on, you know, these are things that you know T1 have been practicing this. They have been scrimming this. They have prepared this, and Zeus.
He's going to face check, does just push them into the wall here and takes one of them away. He's going to choose Keen for his battle. Don't know whether you necessarily want that one. He's going to dash a whole bunch, but yeah, Keen's just going to snip. and that's a dead K'Sante.
Yeah, it's the target he didn't want there, and now BDD under some threat here, but it should be fine.
Ooh, value. I was thinking that maybe that was a barrel that wasn't in the correct position, but he knew that he had to make his way back out again.
Keen might pick up some bounty gold here, which would be pretty huge for KT. It's going to be a small victory, but you'll take it at this point.
Yeah, there it goes. So there it is. A little bit of money back. 5,000 gold is the lead as Faker goes golden. Keria off to the side, finds the Chains of Corruption. Lahens, he has to flash. That is a dead monkey, a 5th one here for Gumayusi. Meanwhile, Shirley's getting charges. She's having a real good time as Keria's flashing, just trying to get some slows so that Gumayusi can pre-hit. Piercing arrow not going to land there onto Lahens, who's going to have to piece out of this one. I don't think that he's going to be able to offer too much more other than fish food for T1.
Faker.
As a bear goes down, and that is a dead BDD. Another kill for Gumayusi as they are not stopping. They're just going to continue pushing forward. It's 19 minutes into the game.
It could almost end at this point here. Aiming with a rapid-fire cannon available now. They are going to back away. But Baron spawns here in 1 minute time. They can try to reset for this. They have mid control. They have top control. An inhibitor is down early once again. And this is what T1 does with these massive leads. And the timing of these picks is just stellar as we're going to watch this. Chains of Corruption into the follow-up. Just an insta-dead Lahens. But over here, you know, you definitely wanted to ult, I think, the Wukong, but, you know, tough to do in the stressful situation here for Zeus.
I mean, there were pixels on top of one another. It was a 50-50 is what it felt like.
Yeah, I think you were actually correct. That's my assessment as well. Then on the top side, watch the timing of this stopwatch from Faker. This is actually so beautiful. He's like, cast, and then just before the tidal wave. So he's actually still in this, has a stun. Cuz is locked down. He gets another follow-up stun here with his tippers when he preps it. Still has flash available, didn't need to use it. I mean, this is like a really long replay, but I don't think there's anything happy going on in live.
Yeah, there might be another fight,
maybe
or
a
something
Baron
like that, but I think it's not super relevant right now. As the bear pops down. Yeah.
Oh, it's one of those games, Atlas, you know, and these types of play, this type of new double 80 carry lane is exactly how T1 likes to play.
Yeah, and it's not even new at this point, right? Like, this is just Keria. He wants to pick something that has range and then just beat them down.
Yeah.
And that's what he decides to do.
I mean, they popularized it.
Good enough to make it work. Yeah.
They popularized it, and if you are as good as Keria is, and your team is so good at macro and making cross maps happen, you just take advantages from that bottom side where you snowball it, and then you have Umbral, and yeah, I mean,
I don't know why, but they're still going to go for a Baron. Here's a teleport from KT as Cuz is going to get stunned forever and murdered. Faker's going to grab that kill. Actually, a great all-out to make sure that he just could not do anything to react. That means that this Baron is very comfortably going to go over to T1, and KT, I mean, there was nothing left in the tank. It felt like, honestly, this game was lost much earlier than this. But with the Baron now, T1 will push down on these last remaining few turrets.
Yeah, the last few inhibitors, easy to take them down. Keria here just trying to check for vision.
Here it is, yeah.
Is picked. And, I mean, he has Umberglaive. He wants to be doing stuff like this as part of his job, is to find out where those flank angles are. And KT, despite the lack of a support here, just can't actually fight this. They hold the Baron so that, you know, there's no 50-50 here. Then focus down the jungler. It's an easy cleanup from there. They have the numbers advantage. They have the wallets advantage.
And Ace is having such a good time just dashing around on this K'Sante, man. He just looks like he's enjoying himself.
Look at the items for Keria. Like, he got the Umberglaive early, so he can clear a lot of vision, but now he has Ghostblade. He's just Lethality Varus now.
Yeah, no, he is.
And there's not enough money for KT to itemize against this amount of damage. It's just so silly.
I feel like Keria should be the one farming now. Gumayusi, like, he's got so many cash-ins. He's got 13k. He's like double that of aiming right now.
Like, sell your sickle.
Yeah, like just like let's just farm, you know? I think that's what Keria should be doing here. I guess they do kind of need vision. I guess maybe, but do they though? I don't know. Kind of want to see double 80 carry from the bottom lane.
I mean, they've got so many ways to clear this vision too. And I mean, they're just pushing with Baron buff, taking these turrets out piece by piece.
Yeah, it's a 10,000 gold lead at 22.5 minutes, guys. This is an excessive snowball. And KT, this week has just not been a very good week for this team. We were kind of predicting that they weren't going to be able to keep it up for the entire season, but I don't think anyone was predicting a collapse of this magnitude.
the drafting was the big problem in the D+ series, right? Where they fell into a lot of pitfalls. They didn't play to their strengths. As I can't believe they're doing it to them right now. The drafting in this second game in particular, also a little bit sus. As Oner.
Yeah, the culling's going to come through. That is a two-man Tibbers, though. Tidal Wave comes down just to try and split this fight up. As KT underneath the turret now. They don't lose anyone, but they still don't have very much control. BDD looking for it, does manage to bring in the Draven right into the bubble. That's the cash-in. Well, I mean, the cash-in on the other side, right, for Keen this time, but T1 still have a lot of damage available. It's not Zeus, as he's going to push PDD back in. All right, kind of love it.
They don't need an AD carry, they got a spare! They got a spare!
Exactly! They do need an AD carry, Wolf, but they still have one, it's fine.
They got a spare, it's not fair!
Oh,
it's not fair, Atlas!
Lahen's is going to get punched by the Vi here, and Zeus will help take down this Nexus turret. The wallets are so heavy, it's obscene. And yeah, Gumayusi dies, it's his first death of the game, and the Nexus will be the next to fall. 24 minutes, man! An absolute shellacking as, the inhibitors respawn, guys. It's just like Worlds.
Except not in any way.
Completely different.
All right, let's see. Where's the angle here? Keen can TP. All right. He's going to go onto the Baron pit.
Yeah, this is BDD making his way in. Cuz just trying to keep tabs on everyone.
It doesn't actually
Keria is dead, yeah. But that means that the rest of them do make it out alive.
Zeus is going to get out of here. Oner's going to get out of here. This inhibitor turret actually survives. Bot inhibitor didn't go down, and top inhibitor, as you mentioned, respawn. That's why they couldn't actually push to end.
I think it's fine now. Yeah, all the inhibitors are back up. I think it's time for the KT the KT comeback.
Oh, I was going to stand by what I said about the happy gaming in this draft. I think this draft is actually good. We might see T1 even draft this in playoffs. In the positioning of the Draven here, I will say maybe a little bit of happiness going through. Zeus decides, okay, we could turn this. We have Faker here with another stun he can prep, and then Keria is doing tons of lethality damage. They do win this fight, which is insane after what was a pretty heroic attempt there from BDD to delete the AD carry. But they stay a little bit long. The inhibitor does respawn. The game goes on. But this is not how KT are going to win this one, right? This is one of about 5 miracle fights they will need to come back in this game. It's like the Nexus is open.
Yeah, there is like they took so many turrets. Like the amount of money T1 has after this push is obscene, and it's right now kind of weighing them down. You know, it's sitting in their pockets. They're still yet to turn it into all of those juicy items, and now they have. It's 4 items now complete for Gumayusi. We've got like a few extra ones being picked up here by the rest of the team. Faker's been sitting on that Rabadons for quite some time, and yeah, I mean,
BDD. He doesn't have Flash. You know, if he has Flash, maybe you can make that heroic play one more time.
And it's like almost all of the gold lead is in this bottom lane. It's actually insane the amount of value that they've got. As Keria is going to get the Chains Corruption onto Cuz, and he's going to go down. Oner goes gold in there as well to avoid the culling damage. And now there is no real form of engage here for KT outside of he's throwing a Hail Mary.
Yeah, he's holding that cast. Like, he really wants to do it so badly, but he can't get into range. And there's no Nexus turrets here.
Painting just dives into the backline, executes Keria. That was kind of sick. I don't know whether it's going to mean too much, as there it is. All right. Zeus going to be booped in. He's like real tanky right now, though, as he does manage to find that Q. Beautifully done. Keen, not immune enough. And Tibbers is chasing them into the fountain. Leave them alone, Tibbers. They've been through so much already, as Oner is just going to find BDD and take him down. T1 are going to look for the last remaining few kills. As, yep, there is Gumayusi flashing onto the fountain. And that might be enough as get revenge for Keria and then call it a day.